Everyone used to tell me that cutting was the hard part about your lifting journey. And that's the part where you need to have the most discipline, motivation, consistency. You need to avoid, eating foods that you really love. You have to have low energy. Training feels like shit. I was like, oh my God, right, cutting is going to be the hard part. That's what I need to prepare myself for. Got into my first bulking phase and I was like, this is really hard. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. I'm still having to eat to push my body weight up. I'm sluggish. I don't like how I look on a weekly basis. Bulking phases are really hard. Is cutting going to be even worse than this? That is honestly what was running through my head. I was like, what? Cutting is going to be harder than this? And then 4 years later, when I went into my first cutting phase, I realized that actually I'm a hard gainer. Cutting phases are a piece of piss and they are so much fun and they are so easy. Gaining phases are what's hard. But initially, I didn't realize that it was that way around. And I thought that cutting was going to be even harder, right? But bulking phases are what I find hard. And if you're a hard gainer, I'm going to explain to you why you find them hard as well. Right, as hard gainers, every human on the planet has got a kind of, you can imagine it as like a set point, body weight set point. Imagine if they were just left to their own devices. They weren't trying to gain weight, they weren't trying to lose weight. They're just chilling. They're not tracking their intake. They're eating intuitively when they get hungry. They go and eat some food and they stop eating when they're hungry. They're not doing anything else. Everybody has like a set point body weight kind of thing. This is rough terms, but it does make sense, right? For me, if I was to do that and I wasn't to think about the gym, I wasn't into my lifting, I didn't want to try and gain weight, didn't want to try and lose weight, I would be 72 kilos. That's where I would stay pretty much. 72, 75, somewhere around there, doesn't matter. But I'm currently 82 and the heaviest I've ever been is 95. It's a long way from this set point here, okay? So you can imagine that. You've got this set point here, you've also got your upper body fat set point and your lower body fat set point, which is like a range above and below for body fat, where if you start going above this range, your body's like, you're getting too fat, let's cut back down again, and it'll start doing some wacky things, which I'll talk about in a second. And if you go way too far below your body weight, your body is like, your hormones are getting out of whack, you're hungry, your body will start doing crazy things to try and bring you back up to here. But everyone has got this range, okay? Everyone's got this range, and it's, centered on this theoretical body weight that you would naturally be if you stop doing everything. The reason why us hard gainers find bulking phases so much harder is because my set point is somewhere around 75. If I was left to my own devices, I'd stay at 75. If I go anything above 80, I start finding it difficult to put on weight. My hunger disappears, I feel sluggish, my hunger completely goes, as in I literally don't feel a single pang of hunger. I haven't felt proper hunger in years. Like, being completely honest, I haven't felt hunger in years. And when I do feel hungry on like the rare occasion at the end of a cutting phase, after 52 weeks of cutting, like that's the only time I felt hungry after a full bodybuilding prep, it was nice. I felt the hunger and I was like, oh my God, that feels wonderful, because I hadn't felt it for years. So we don't feel hungry, we feel sluggish, we feel lethargic, it feels like we're constantly digesting, we get bloated, we struggle to sleep, like so many things happen at this point. For the vast majority of people, when they're trying to get their body fat below this bottom end range of their body fat here, they start getting the opposite effects. So when they're cutting, and say their body fat set point is 80, and they're trying to get below 75, their body's like, whoa, you really shouldn't be going lower than this. We don't want you to go lower than this. They have to go to really low calories. They're getting hungry, they're getting cravings, they're getting mood swings, their testosterone's whacked, their hormones are out of whack. All of these crazy things start happening. Doesn't really happen for us, or it happens a lot later, because our set point is lower and we're fighting to get up here. Their set point is higher. The vast majority of people, they're fighting to get down here. Right? So when you're a hard gainer that's trying to go into a gaining phase, it is hard to push your body weight up past these ranges, but there is a fucking superpower. There is an absolute superpower hidden in here, because once you've spent years up in these ranges here, fighting to get your body weight up there, building as much muscle as you can, when you cut back down, it's the easiest thing you'll ever do. Like, I don't mean to be dramatic, but it's so much easier. You don't have to think about food. You're eating an amount of food like 2,700 calories, which is so much that you're not worried about what to eat. You're not hungry, you're still not hungry, you're not bothered about cravings or things like that, because it just doesn't fucking bother you at that point. You've spent 3 years eating everything in sight, trying to gain weight. Now somebody shows you it and you're like, I still don't care. I still do not care, right? I went from 95 kilos the whole way down to 69 kilos on stage. I didn't get hungry. I only felt hunger on my last week of cutting. I lost 26 kilos and I was sound. You can get so much more shredded. You can spend longer cutting. Your sleep will stay intact. you will be able to diet on way higher calories. Like, there's so many benefits to this, but the way up is so much harder. So you can get shredded easier. You can endure a cutting phase for longer. It doesn't have as much of a toll on you. So for example, when you finish the cutting phase as well, you're going to be fully recovered in like less than 3 months. Some people take a full year to fully get their hormones back in a good spot after a prep. So there's so many benefits to having a set point that's lower, but the problem is getting your body weight up in the first place is a long, hard, grueling fucking process. Okay, so say I started my fitness journey at around 70 kilos, I got the whole way up to 95. That was the hardest battle for me. 4 years of literally just grafting away, trying to get my body weight a little bit higher week on week. I probably didn't need to go the whole way up to 95, and in hindsight, I probably wouldn't go there again. I'm only going to go up to around 90, okay? But what I'm trying to say is, this way up is tough, because this is the big distinction that you need to make. Think about a bodybuilder's calendar. A bodybuilder's calendar. On a yearly basis, the normal bodybuilder who has a set point quite high and finds cutting really hard spends 80% of his year comfortable because he's gaining and he's happy. He can eat whatever he wants. He's not hungry. He's not shoveling food down. He's not getting too full. He's not struggling with low appetite. He's comfortable and chilling for 80% of the year nutritionally, like sound. For 20% of the year when he has to cut, that is hell for him. That is hard. That is where he's not ready for that, because he's just spent 80% of his year struggling. He's spent that time he spent 80% of that year sound, chilling, not remembering what it feels like to do something hard. And he's just like, yeah, I'm all good, I'm sound. We're flipped upside down. We spend 80% of our year in pain, like struggling, having to shovel food down, fighting to keep our body weight up, having to deal with low appetite, eating when we don't want to, going to bed on some nights where we've missed a meal and we've had to scran down 2,000 calories last thing at night with our bellies pushing out against our stomachs, lying in bed going, fuck's sakes, I have fucked this so badly. That is what we have to deal with for 80% of the year. But that 20% is so nice. That 20% is like respite. So when it comes to a bodybuilding prep for us, I just think it's so much easier. Because it's like getting to reveal all of the hard work that you've put in over the 80% of the year. For them, that is where they have to work really hard to show the results. For us, this is just like the coasting period that's really good fun. Obviously, towards the end of a bodybuilding prep, it gets hard. You will start getting some of the side effects that they do, but the side effects come in so much later, and you've spent 80% of the year grafting, and you're already in that, this is quite hard, okay, this is quite hard. You're ready for the challenge, and you were desperate for that cutting phase. For them, they're like, they could have carried on gaining, they're absolutely fine. Do we really want to do this? Okay, and then it hurts, and it starts hurting sooner. For us, we can get 20, 30 weeks in without any side effects at all, and it is a fucking superpower. So you have to recognize that, okay? So as a hard gainer, this initial period where you are increasing your body weight, and you're gonna have to do that for a good 3, 4 years, 5 years before you've built enough muscle to step on a stage. This is gonna be fucking rough. I'm gonna be straight up with you. This is gonna be a hard period. It's like you're building something from nothing, and that is hard. That is really hard. This period where you're increasing your body weight for 4 to 5 years, where you've got low appetite, that is hard. But this is the thing that gets me. So many guys just fall into a victim mentality here, and they're like, oh, why is it so hard for me? What the fuck is the alternative? What is the other choice? Choose your hard. Choose your hard. If you are starting from a skinnier standpoint, play the fucking cards that you've been dealt. Play the hand you've been dealt. You have been dealt a hard gainer genetic makeup. You've been dealt that. Deal with it. Do not complain about it, how hard it is for you, because at the end of the day, you've only got 2 choices. You can either sit there, complain about how hard it is and how you have to eat more and how unfortunate it is, or you can eat the fucking food, build the fucking muscle, and then whoosh past everybody in your next cutting phase. 2 choices. Are you gonna moan, be a little bitch, complain about it, get upset about how it's so unfair and how you have to eat food and how you have to prep your own food and learn to cook and all of the... Shut the fuck up. You will stay skinny if you do that, or you can just get on with it. If you're somebody that's ready to get on with it, I have some amazing tips. I have some great tips that are going to help you out, okay? Skinny hard gainer, struggling to gain weight. You need to be regimented as fuck with your meals. It's not good enough to wake up and just decide what to eat anymore. You need to know exactly what meals you're eating the day before. You need to have a set repertoire of meals, posh word, arsenal of meals that you can stick to on a weekly basis that you know digest well. You can cook in absolutely no time. You can cook without thinking. You can cook with one utensil. You can cook while you walk away from, that you can spend less than £5 on and take less than 10 minutes to make. The reason why these rules and these things are so important is because if you're trying to make up your meals on a daily basis, brand new fancy ones, wake up and you're like, I'm gonna have steak and fucking eggs for breakfast, you're gonna get so sick of these things in such a short period of time, and the brain fatigue that clocks up from choosing what you're going to eat on a daily basis is literally debilitating. I have gotten into, I'll be honest, I've gotten into so many arguments with Evie, my girlfriend, over the years when she's like, oh, what do you want to have for tea tonight? What do you want to have this for lunch? I'm just like, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. I've still got 2,000 calories left. The last thing that I want to be doing right now is deciding what my next meal is. I do not want to cook up something that's going to take 2 hours, because I've had it where I've already eaten 2,000 calories for the day. She's like, oh, what do you want to have for tea? We cook something up for tea, I have that thing, and I still have to have another full meal that I've cooked up myself after that. If you're making decisions at every meal time, you are going to be fucked. You are going to be absolutely fucked after 2 weeks. As in, if you're getting to 12 p.m, lunchtime, and you're having to decide what to make, having to go to the shop, get the ingredients, cook it all up, you haven't got it planned out beforehand, you don't realise how much mental energy you've just put into that meal. And every time you do that, it is draining more and more of your mental energy. And that's just one of the factors you have to consider, right? So you need to conserve this, and you need to learn how to conserve this. So in other words, you need to concrete in the first 2 to 3 meals of your day. So get them on autopilot. I have a banana protein shake for breakfast every single morning. I have chicken and rice for lunch every single day. Before midday, I've had 2,000 calories from eating these two things. They are the same. I make them in the same way every single day. The ingredients are prepped, frozen, and in already. I don't need to think about it. The first meal takes me 5 minutes to make. The second one takes me 10 minutes to make. I've spent 15 minutes in the kitchen by midday, and I've already got in 2,000 calories. I've hit 130 grams of protein, and I'm cushy with those first 2 meals. With my third meal of the day, I'll either have a snack like cream of rice or something else. Like I've got a set 3 meals that I kind of pick from. And the final meal of the day is the final meal of the day where I can have a bit more flexibility with my diet. I can take into account if me and Evie are going out for a meal, or if we're getting a takeaway in. I've got a bit more flexibility, and I've got the mental energy to track it. If I've already had to decide on 3 of my meals on that day and cook them up on the spot, by the 4th one, I'm gonna be so fed up of thinking about food, I'm gonna be done with it. Another thing you need to take into account is if your meals are too tasty, you will get fed up of eating too tasty things. And this is something that's so backwards, right? But honestly, if you are trying to make every single one of your meals as tasty as possible, you will get fed up of those feelings of sweetness, of like tang, of all of these things, and by your last meal you will just crave chicken and rice, like plain, or something really plain. Because when you're having too much of this really tasty, really nice stuff, you will get sick of it, and you will realize that any meal that is too tasty, it's got too much on it, it's too tangy, you will literally have that 4 times and then never want to look at it again. You need to find meals that are just tasty enough for you to love it, get down easily, they digest really well before training and stuff like this, but they're not so tasty that you get fucking sick of it by the 4th time you've had it. So you need to think about these meals properly. Obviously, you need to take into account other things like your daily protein intake and splitting that within your meals. Your fiber intake, you don't want to push that too high, but you still need to get in your 5 a day. You still need to fucking eat vegetables until you're right at the end of a gaining phase where that's potentially questionable, but we'll leave that for today. But the factors that I just don't see people talking about when it comes to building up a bulking arsenal of meals for yourself is the time it takes to cook them, the decision fatigue, and the cost. People don't talk about these 3 things, okay? But you can easily, if you're making bulking meals wrong, you can easily spend like 20 quid a day. You can easily do that. It's so easy to do that. You can easily spend 2 hours a day cooking. If you go on Instagram, the meals that you see on there are like, marinate your chicken for 2 hours beforehand, make this bread fucking dough from scratch and wait half an hour. I do not have time to wait half an hour because I'm eating 4 times daily. I do not have time to do that. And I'm not gonna do that, right? I need meals that I can prep, pull out, put it in the microwave. I need meals that I can put in the rice cooker, walk away from it, come back 10 minutes later, scram straight away. I need meals that I can put in the air fryer, forget about, and come back and then eat it. I need meals that cook themselves. I do not want to be in there doing that, because as soon as you start spending longer in there, as soon as you start prepping more meals, as soon as you start making more and more decisions around your food, the harder it gets, okay? And then with cost, you cannot be having like a sirloin steak for 2 of your meals, chicken breast and salmon. You need to find things that are cheap and is actually, you're able to buy those things consistently on a weekly basis without it blowing your budget. and so that you can actually save a bit of money for like meals out, takeaways and stuff like this. Otherwise, you can easily spend 100 quid plus a week on food shop, like easily. And if you've made it to the end of this video, it means that you're not one of the skinny virgins that is just complaining about how hard it is to eat food and complaining about how difficult it is for him, and how you are actually one of these guys that are taking it seriously, and you're in this 4-year period of getting your body weight up. So I'm going to gift you something. I'm here to help you, right? Over the last 3 years, I've been collecting meals on MyFitnessPal, because every time I create a new bulking meal that works really well for me, that I can eat like repeatedly, I turn it into a meal on MyFitnessPal and I save it. What I do is I get all of the items, I turn it into a meal, save it, so that the next time I eat it, all I have to do is click copy and paste. This is unbelievably useful, because otherwise, if you're eating like 3,000 calories, you can end up tracking 30 different items if you don't have these meals saved. As soon as you have these meals saved, you can literally just come into MyFitnessPal, go boom, that, boom, that, boom, that, and that will track for your full day. You just need to weigh the items out, but you don't have to re-enter these things into MyFitnessPal and have to choose between which option looks best. You know, choose that one item that looks better than the other one, and this one's got the green tick and this one, none of that. It's already done for you. What I realized is I can actually pull these meals out and give you my full repertoire of bulking meals. And I've got over 200 of them saved up. I've pulled 30 of them out into a spreadsheet where you've literally can see all of them. There's a recipe attached, the macronutrients are there. I've also put in the cost and the time it takes to make them. So if you go and hit the top link in my bio, what am I talking about? In the description of this video, it'll send you to a form, fill that out. I will send you across a copy of the spreadsheet that gives you my full bulking meals, the recipes for them, and also there's a whole meal prep resource in there. You literally just have to choose the meals that you want to make, and it'll give you a full shopping list. As in, it will tell you exactly what to go to the shop and buy, because as I said, the biggest killer of your gains as a hard gainer in a gaining phase is decision fatigue. You do not want to be thinking about these things. You do not want to be making decisions on a daily basis. If your shopping list is given to you and you just have to go and tick those boxes, and then you've got recipes given to you that you just have to go and follow, this is going to make your gaining phase so much easier. And you're not going to have to make these hundreds of decisions every day. Your decision fatigue is going to drop and your clarity is going to go up. So download this resource, go and make yourself a shopping list, make sure that it's really cost efficient and calorie efficient, because that means that you're spending the least amount of money that you could. I think you can even get it so that you're only spending £6 a day on your food shop. And also you can get it so that you're only having to buy eat 2 kilos of food to get in 3,000 calories, which is seriously efficient. So go and grab that resource. And if you found this video useful, please drop a comment down below as to what you found useful about it and any questions that you have. See you on the next one.